Tonight we are live and we are doing something a recipe that I've never done before. And I'm taking you along because why not? Let's do something new together. And I have tons of groceries and items out on my table right here because we're doing something that I had a few times as a kid. I wasn't really crazy about it, but the idea of making a homemade version of it sounds really good to me. So the store-bought 80s and 90s kid version is Hamburger Helper, but this is a from scratch, more like grown-up style Hamburger Helper, but also good for kids. And what did I want to tell you about Hamburger Helper? Oh, I wanted to give credit where credit is due. I actually was inspired by another YouTuber who cooks for her channel. Her name is Christine. Her channel is Christine's Notebook too. So shout out to Christine for giving me this idea. I'm actually going very much off of her recipe, so I will link her YouTube channel below so that you can click on her stuff and get some good inspiration from what she does. So her recipe basically calls for ground beef, onion, garlic, smoked paprika, ancho chili powder. I'm not using the chili powder. I don't have it, and I feel like that's going to make it spicier, so I'm not going to do that. Distilled white vinegar, I'm going to use apple cider vinegar, Worcestershire sauce, which I do have, salt, chicken stock, which I made the other day, crushed tomatoes. These are whole, but I'll crush them with a spoon, and then pasta, which I have, and then shredded cheese. And then it also calls for sour cream. She mentions that you can also use Greek yogurt, and I'm always up for that because I always have Greek yogurt in my fridge. I use it in just about everything, and it should add some nice creaminess and a little tang at the end. Now I'm adding a few extra things to this. One thing I'm gonna add, I have these carrots, they've been sitting in my fridge, and I'm gonna slice them up or dice them up really finely so they can kind of blend in with everything. And I also have some leftover broccoli from a salad that I made the other day, as well as literally a handful of leftover Brussels sprouts. Whoops! Ah! A handful -1 Brussels sprout. Okay, now my dog's going to attempt to eat a raw Brussels sprout. If he eats it, I'll be impressed. Also, I'm going to throw in some sweet peas. So funny enough, I had all of these ingredients, every single one of them I already had in my house, except for the peas. I wanted to throw in some peas. It's also something that Christine mentioned in her video that you could throw in if you wanted to. So I like the idea of doing that. And then I'm gonna throw in some extra veggies as well. And the most appealing part about this dinner is that it is a one-pot dinner. Now, I am going to double this recipe because I like to cook once and eat twice, or maybe even 3 times. And it's not so much the cooking that I'm trying to get out of the next day, it's more the dishes that I'm trying to get out of. So I love to cook a huge pot for dinner or a huge bake or whatever it is, and then it lasts for a couple of days, and it's just so easy. You don't have to think about what's for dinner the next day. So I'm gonna double it, which means 2 things of pasta and just extra everything. So I have this big Dutch oven that I'm gonna start heating on the stove. And I didn't really read the instructions on how to make this recipe, but I very rarely follow instructions with recipes anyway. I usually just look at ingredients and decide, ooh, I like the sound of that, and then I just throw all the ingredients together, how I think that they should go, and go from there. So I have my pot on, I'm gonna put it up to high. When I brown my meat, I like the pot or pan to be really screaming hot to get some nice browning. Get some olive oil in there. And then one thing that she mentions is that you can remove the meat from the pot while you're cooking everything else if you want your meat to stay on the crispier side. Well, that sounds nice. It's not worth it to me to remove it from the pot, so everything's just gonna stay in one pot, and I'm not going to fuss about many other things. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just season my ground beef and then get that in the pot. And your knife, that would be good. So, I'm just gonna open these guys up while my pan is getting nice and hot. If you see anything smoking behind me, just let me know. Don't want it to get too hot. Why? does not want to open. There we go. You have to stab it like a horror movie. Now, if you're popping on here and you're making something for dinner, tell me what you're making. I'd love to hear it. All right, so I've got my salt here, and let's see. It's getting there. It's getting there. I can see the ripples in the oil. I'm gonna have the camera pretty much stationed there most of the time, just for ease, but I might move it around a little bit here and there as necessary. So I'm gonna just season my meat just on one side for now. Then I'll put that side down into the pot so it can sear on that seasoned side. If you want, you can season it with pepper as well. I do love pepper in many things. I don't feel like using it right now. So it's gonna keep things really, really simple. I'm gonna check my heat over here, check my oil. And then after I get that going, I'm gonna start chopping up my veggies. And this should be super delicious dinner. All right, I see it like starting to smoke slightly, so I'm gonna get my meat in here. You got some good Valentine's Day things today? Can you close that back door? And then Oreo's chewing on something, so. I guess he can just chew on it, as long as it's not gonna hurt him. All right, so one side is searing, and then I'm gonna season the other side. Don't be afraid to season your meat well. All right, so then I think I'm gonna just go for throwing my veggies in and getting them all cooked up as well. I'm gonna shred some cheese in a little bit, that's why I have this. I might roast this first while the pasta's cooking. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking on my feet here. All right, let's see. Garbage bowl here. I'm gonna flip my meat. I can smell that it's caramelizing on one side. It smells awesome. It's nice and brown on that first side, so I just flipped it. I'm gonna let that cook on the other side and then I'll mash it up a little bit. All right, getting my carrots. I did not peel these carrots. They're organic, so you don't have to peel them. I just washed them. And I'm gonna just kind of dice them as finely as possible. They'll cook faster that way, and then the kids will be less inclined to complain. Let's call it what it is. You could probably chop up some celery really finely if you have it. I love this kind of thing where it's kind of like a blank canvas and you can do what you want. Pasta is good that way. Now, if you have been following my channel or if you know me, you know that over the past year or just over a year ago, I switched to completely freshly milled flour when making anything that requires flour. And for a while that meant I did not eat or cook with any store-bought pasta at all. To be continued. added okay, it's a little smoky here. I just added a little extra oil because the meat is a little bit lean, so needed a little help not sticking to the bottom of the pan. Top. While that's continuing. Anyway, if you know me or have been following me, yeah, I had not really, up until very, very recently, I didn't eat or cook with any store-bought pasta. If we had pasta, I would make it myself, which basically meant we didn't eat pasta all that often because it's quite a process to make homemade pasta. And when making homemade pasta, it's nearly impossible to make this kind of shape, like that short, like the fusilli, the cavatappi, the penne, the ziti, like it's nearly impossible. I think there's probably a way to do it, but there's not a way that I'm willing to try in my stage of life. But so recently I discovered that there are some healthy versions. This pasta, like this protein pasta, is it's a protein pasta. It's fusilli, and what are the ingredients? Organic durum wheat semolina. So it's organic, but it is sifted. So it has the germ and the bran sifted out, which I don't like, but it is organic, so it doesn't have the added things to it. And it also has organic pea flour, so you have that extra protein in there. So for those reasons, I am bending my rule just a little bit to have a very yummy, easy weeknight dinner. Gonna get these carrots going. And again, I am doubling this already pretty hefty recipe, so it's gonna look like I'm adding a lot to the pot. My biggest fear is that I don't have enough room in this pot, so we'll see what happens. Might be a good problem to have. That just means lots of food, lots to enjoy. All right, I'm gonna get this, actually I'll wait. Cook. I will put up one more carrot. Very excited to taste this. There was another recipe that I made inspired by, it wasn't exactly the same thing, but again, it was inspired by Christine's notebook, and it was sweet potato bowls. So the sweet potatoes, baked sweet potatoes, were like the base, kind of like, instead of pasta or instead of like rice, it was like a baked sweet potato, and then you open it up, and then I think she had like barbecue chicken, maybe like slow cooker chicken or something, but I did ground beef that I used some barbecue sauce on, and then some of that, I think it's Stonewall Kitchen, it's like a garlic and onion jam, a little bit of that, and then what do we put? Oh, I made a really delicious ranch slaw with homemade buttermilk ranch dressing, and put that slaw on top. So it was sweet potatoes on the bottom, and then the ground beef on top of that, and then the slaw on top of that, and it was so yummy and so good for you. All right, like I said, I'm just keeping the beef right in there. You can remove it to keep it crispy. I don't really care. I just want everything to get happy together in the pot. Then I'll go ahead and put my onion and my garlic in there, then probably the tomatoes. I'm gonna leave the rest of the veggies out just to make sure I have room for them later. It is currently Olympics season, and I'm not really one to watch the Olympics, but I remember being a kid and really enjoying watching I totally did not cut this onion the way that I normally do this. I remember watching like the ice skating on Olympics and really enjoying that. So my kids have been wanting to watch the Winter Olympics. They don't have school tomorrow or Monday, so I'm gonna let them tomorrow just kind of have an Olympics watch party. So that'll be fun. Has anybody heard of the guy who is currently being called Quad God? Who can do all those spinny things like 4.5 times? Very entertaining to watch. We've been watching a few of his performances on YouTube, including, I think, what was an Olympic performance. Do you call it a performance? I think so. All right, the onions are going in. Okay, this all better cook down because I do not think I'm going to have enough room for everything. We'll see. All right, get a little salt on that. And then some garlic in there. I might do this whole head of garlic. I don't think I've ever made a dish and said there's too much garlic in here. So the more the garlic, the better. Have you guys been doing your research on garlic and where it comes from? How pretty much all the garlic that you see in grocery stores, from what I understand, even the organic garlic, which this is organic garlic, but from what I understand, it all comes from China. It's bleached. It's basically devoid of all the nutrients that garlic is supposed to have. And so I did, for a time, I just ran out of it. I have to order more. I did order from a website that is, ooh, I don't know why all of a sudden the onions are getting my eyes. But I did order from a website that is U.S. farm grown garlic. So it's actually like the really nutritious kind of garlic. A little on the expensive side if you compare it to store-bought garlic, but it's nothing considering like you buy a bunch of it and then it lasts for like 2 months. So I just have to research that website again and get some more garlic. In the meantime, I just got some organic to tide me over, hoping that it's at least a little bit better than the regular. I know some people buy the pre-peeled garlic from the store. I tend not to do that because I don't find it to be as fresh. And it also makes me anxious to think that it could go bad before I use all of it. So I just go for the heads of garlic. I'm going to chop it pretty finely, but I'm not going to worry too much about a perfect mince. Just enough that will taste good when you bite into it. Nothing too big. I'm trying to like estimate what is happening here in terms of the volume of ingredients that I am trying to fit into that pot. And I'm, as my daughter used to say when she was really little, a little bit novice about it. After all, we are cooking live, and what if after all of this time I can't fit everything in the pot? I could always just cook with one thing of noodles and then cook another thing of noodles tomorrow and add to it, but that is kind of defeats the purpose of this whole thing. All right, this is chopped enough. I'm gonna put garlic in there. Give that a good stir. I always like to be careful when I put garlic in there because I don't want it to burn. All right, I think the next thing we'll do is kind of add, now this is something like I wouldn't normally think to do, but I'm gonna just go with what Christine says and add a little bit of vinegar. I'm not measuring, so I'm just doing a splash. And then some Worcestershire. She probably said a teaspoon, I don't know, so I'll do something like that, except doubled. I love cooking because I love to taste as I go. Maybe I'll show you what we're working with so far. And then, all right, bring it over here. We have, oh my gosh, it smells amazing. Absolutely amazing. The vinegar and the Worcestershire, however you say it, smells so good in there. It almost has barbecue sauce vibes to it. Oh my gosh, almost like Sloppy Joe vibes. So good. So then, sorry, we're gonna put our tomatoes in. So I'm just gonna dump this whole thing of these whole tomatoes, or you could use tomato sauce or whatever. Oh, and I forgot to put in a little bit of smoked paprika, which yep, I have some right here. So I'll add that. I'm just gonna do that. And I'm just gonna very carefully mash up these tomatoes in here. It smells so good. Hey babe, do you smell this? So good. Oh my gosh. I've actually had this can of tomatoes in my little cupboard over there for, I don't know, almost a year. How long have I lived in this house? And I've just never grabbed it because I've always kind of gone for the other cans that are the, pureed tomatoes or diced tomatoes that I have also. But today I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go, I kind of want the chunky tomato vibe, almost like that rustic country, really homemade feel and texture. So this smells and looks amazing. I'm tempted to just taste it as it is before I start adding the other things. Let me see. Just want to taste like a little bit of the meat. Whoa, I almost dropped it. Oh my gosh. It's so good, but it needs more salt. Mmm. It's absolutely delectable. Oh my gosh. Babe, you want to try this? Isn't that so yummy and fun? It's like the flavor's so bright. It doesn't taste like an Italian sauce. It tastes like something else. I don't even know how to describe it. All right, so now I'm gonna grab my stock and her recipe because it was a single recipe. It said 6 cups, so I'm gonna do 12 cups. And I did want to be pretty exact with my stock because I knew I needed a good ratio to cook my pasta. So there's one. or I should say that's 2 cups, or wait, 4 cups in each of these quarts. So that's 1 quart, 2 quarts, 3, okay, I think I will have just enough room to get the pasta in. So I'm gonna bring this to a boil, I think, and then throw the pasta in. While the pasta's cooking, I'm gonna shred some cheese and possibly roast up some vegetables, maybe just like in the toaster oven, just to, because I might throw some extra veggies on top of mine. Just for yumminess and fun. My chicken stock is unsalted, so once it comes to a boil, before I add the pasta, I'm going to salt it a little bit and I'll taste it to make sure it has enough saltiness that I want to flavor my pasta noodles. So I will do that in a little bit. I'm gonna set my toaster oven here to 400, and then I'm actually gonna just go ahead and get some of these veggies roasting for that. Let me get a little. Actually, I'll just roast them right on here. Or are you doing the sign? I feel like you should probably wait until like I can make sure everything's going.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put like the.
I really would prefer if you just wait until we can do it together. I appreciate you trying to get something done, but that's definitely a project that I don't. Once you do it, you can't undo it. But I can tell you another project that you can work on that I'd be glad to have you work on by yourself.
What?
Putting the toilet paper holder. Yes, I knew you weren't going to want to do it, but. The other day, I made a salad. We had a lot of like comfort, like wintry foods for a while, and it was perfect for the weather, but then I was kind of craving something light and fresh. So I did a salad with grilled chicken, and instead of lettuce or just regular like salad greens, I did like shaved Brussels sprouts, like really thinly sliced Brussels sprouts, kale, and very finely chopped broccoli, and then did kind of like a poppy seed, like a poppy seed dressing, but it also had wild orange essential oil in it, so it was like a sweet honey poppy seed dressing, and then we put grilled chicken on top, cut up some apples, and what else? Parmesan cheese. Oh, and then I toasted up some pepitas and put some dried cranberries in it, and it was so delicious. But I ended up having a little bit of this stuff left over, and I hate to waste anything, so I was either gonna roast this and then put it in some sort of like egg dish, but then I figured, you know what, I'll just use this for extra veggies. I'm getting this broccoli to be much smaller than I would normally do for roasting broccoli, but since the Brussels sprouts are so tiny, especially sliced in half, I just want to make everything kind of uniform in size. Oops, forgot. I have more broccoli over here. Oh, and more Brussels sprouts. They're so little. That is the tiniest Brussels sprout I've ever seen. I'm not even going to slice that one in half, but I will slice this one in half. So that's a fair amount of veggies. And then I probably won't even put them inside the pot because there's no room, and I don't even think my kids are gonna want them, but I'll probably just top mine with some veggies, which will be very yummy. Where did I put my garbage bowl? Here it is. Okay, so for my veggies, I'm gonna do a little olive oil. Now the trick here is not forgetting about them, which is gonna be really hard for me. because I forget about a lot of things. I'll give you an example. We have a dog, and I let him out in the morning, and I keep forgetting to let him back in. Now, it would be helpful. Oh, here's an instance where I actually would gladly use lots of pepper. It would be helpful if he came back to the door and scratched at it or barked or something, but he just wanders off and does his thing even in like negative whatever weather, and then 20 minutes later I'm like, oh, where's Oreo? And then I have to find him and call for him. So yeah, so that's just proof that I forget a lot of things. So, you know, if you could help me remember to grab these out of the toaster oven in about 10 minutes or less, that would be great. Hey honey, what you doing? Alright, so those will roast a little bit. I can hear that this is about to come to a boil. I'm gonna put away these things. Oh, this is what I was talking about before when I mentioned that when I made the sweet potato bowls and I used like, when I did the ground beef, all I did was add some barbecue sauce and a little bit of this roasted garlic onion jam. This is one of my favorite things ever. You can spread it on like cold cut sandwiches, like turkey sandwiches with a little mayo and mustard. It's nice and sweet, but it also has that savory onion and garlic flavor. And you can just put it on anything basically. Like a grilled chicken sandwich, spread it on the bun. Oh my gosh, so good. Okay, so this is boiling. I'm gonna salt it a little bit because I know it's gonna need a fair amount of salt before I add the pasta. It's kind of like the same thing as salting your pasta water, but I am gonna taste it and see what's up. Oh my gosh, it tastes so good. I'm gonna do a little more salt. My least favorite part about cooking with pasta is having to drain the pasta. I feel like I never have room in my sink for it. It creates like all these extra dishes. So I love, one of the most appealing parts of this recipe is that you cook the pasta right in your dish. Tastes really good. All right, here's my pasta. I'll open this up and get this boiling. Get a scissor. Assuming I'll have to keep an eye on this so it doesn't boil over. Yeah. Let's see how this goes. This looks really like a real bubbling boil here. And I'm assuming that the pasta is going to release a little bit of starch to thicken that broth a little bit. Hear my vegetables sizzling in there. Okay, so this looks good. I feel like we're making good progress here. I'll take you over, show you what it looks like. I can probably unplug my phone from the charger. So. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It looks like soup right now, but that is because the pasta is not cooked yet. As the pasta absorbs a lot of that chicken stock, it's going to get definitely less brothy, and it'll probably thicken up as the pasta releases some starch. Just my guess, but it's my first time making this. So let's grate some cheese. That will also thicken it up a little bit. I did notice that the recipe called for a really big amount of cheese. I think it's called for 3 cups, and if I'm doubling that, that would be 6 cups, which sounds like a lot. So we'll see we'll see what happens here. This is some raw cheddar that I got from our farmer's market, which I love. It is, actually I want to taste it. It is such a good. I love this cheddar so much. If you don't have one of these little cheese graters, I highly recommend. They're a little bit of a pain to clean, but it's worth it when you have to do a lot of cheese grating. Oh my gosh, the cheese is so good. That looks like it's over a cup right there. I'm actually just gonna turn off my toaster oven. It cooks things really fast and I'm afraid I'm gonna forget about it. So I think it has enough heat going in there right now, and I can see that it's like halfway cooked. Just sitting there, it's gonna do the rest of the cooking, sitting there in the warm toaster oven. So I'm gonna do the rest of this regular cheddar, and then I have another cheddar from the same market that is smoked raw cheddar, and I'm gonna do a little bit of that too. I was also thinking that spinach would be really good in this, but I didn't feel like dealing with, I would have had to add spinach to my Walmart order, and then I didn't feel like dealing with like thawing frozen spinach. Oh, I could have done fresh spinach, but I was afraid I wouldn't have room in the pot, and I was right. So, went with carrots and peas instead. The smoked cheddar is really good, but it is very smoky. It's not the kind of cheese that I would like eat by itself, but it's so good in grilled cheeses and mac and cheese and all sorts of pasta dishes. And I'm trying to think of other ways that I use smoked cheddar. Oh, in egg bakes, quiches, really, really good. Something that I'm a little bit nervous about is the cheese breaking when it goes into that hot dish. And it's making me trying to think of if Christine had any advice for that. Because I know I have broken cheese sauces before. Maybe I'll just do like a little bit more. And if it's just a cheese sauce, you can get it back to its emulsified state by doing an immersion blender, but I wouldn't be able to do that with this because of all the other things in the pot. Oh, it's definitely thickening up. That's exciting. And I would recommend coming back to it a few times and stirring, because there is so much in the pot that it's not like regular boiling pasta where it's constantly being churned from the bottom and like pushed away from the bottom of the pot. So just come in, and I don't feel anything sticking right now, but just in case, I'm gonna taste. I really like the taste of this protein pasta. I was a little afraid that it would taste like too, like pea-y, like peas with the pea flour, but it tastes really good. That's really good. I feel like it needs like the tiniest bit of honey just to give it a little sweetness, but I don't want to do anything stupid. So I might wait, because it's really a savory dish with all the cheese. The peas will sweeten it up a little bit. show you, I'm gonna put the rest of this cheese away. I've got some sourdough starter going right there, but that means probably a little while longer. Oh, that would be good to have sliced and toasted sourdough with butter with this. Would be really good to like dip in that sauce. Okay, what was I just gonna do? I'm gonna throw away some things. We're nearing the end here. I think I'm gonna bring this down to like more like a simmer, because as it's thickening up, it's getting a little angry. The bubbles are getting angry because they're kind of fighting against all of the solid things in here. Oh, I wanted to show you this. Okay, so come this way. And I wish you could smell it, but it looks amazing. It's thickening up. It's looking more like a pasta dish rather than a soup with pasta in it. And I would love to know what you're making for dinner tonight. Are you cooking something fresh? Are you taking out? Are you eating leftovers? No shame in your leftover game. That's like one of my favorite things, especially when you can take leftovers and turn them into something else. That looks good. Let me go ahead and try one of these little pasta doohickeys, and I'll see how close we are to the finish line. Ah! This might be very hot, so give me a second. Tastes really good, but it's still crunchy. I'd say it needs a good 5 minutes. So we'll just let this keep going. Turn the heat up just a little bit more. We're getting close, people. Then, when I'm happy with the pasta texture, I'll take it off the heat. I'll let it cool for like a minute or so before I sprinkle in the cheese and then add the Greek yogurt, just so it lowers the risk of the breaking of the cheese, because that would basically ruin the whole thing, and that honestly makes me nervous. Now, would it make sense for me to close the top of this? No, I don't want to close the top because I actually want some of the moisture to evaporate. That will help it thicken up. And I'm really looking for something like a thick sauce. I don't want it to be soupy, although this weather does call for soupy. I don't know where you are in your neck of the woods, but this has been our landscape for a very, very long time. We had a big snowstorm about 2 weeks ago, I think. Was it 3 weeks ago? I don't remember, but it was a huge, gorgeous snowstorm. And then after that, it just got so freezing that the snow just didn't go anywhere. And it is beautiful, but it's time. It's time for the snow to melt. I wouldn't even mind if the snow melted and then it snowed again and get like a fresh snow. But the same snow over and over. I won't even show you my backyard because like I said, I let my dog out on the backyard. He has decorated the entire backyard and there's almost no white snow left, if you know what I mean. All you dog moms out there. So this is really just simmering. Hey, babe.
Yeah.
When you get a chance, can you help me set the table?
Yeah.
And then I think I'm good to go. I think that's all the cheese I'm going to use. It's almost ready. It came together pretty quickly.
Oh.
And then I'm going to get my peas ready. I do have room to put my peas and my cheese and my Greek yogurt, so that'll be good. I'm gonna. And then these are my roasted veggies from before. love roasted vegetables. It's just vegetables, salt, pepper, and olive oil. And they taste amazing. I might sprinkle my bowl of pasta with these. I'm just gonna clean up a little bit. And then I'll show you how this thing detaches. On the handle, there's a little, what is it called? Like a little lever. You like pull it down, and then it releases the little blade thingy. So this goes in the sink, but the handle doesn't get dirty, so you don't have to wash that. And then we have another little pulley lever here. And I never know if this goes down or up. Okay, it goes down. And then this all-touch cheese, so this has to get washed. It does go in the dishwasher, and then you release this little suction thing. And then these are the two parts that don't get cheesy, so you can just pop that back in your cabinet. I like to flick off any cheese that tried to get on it. And then those don't have to get washed. But the rest are easy to wash by hand, or you can throw them in the dishwasher. So I have my Greek yogurt here. There's probably about a cup left in there, so that's perfect. And then I have, how many peas? 12 ounces of peas. I think that would taste really good. And then I would say that's about probably 3 cups of cheese. If I were to really double the recipe, it would be 6 cups of cheese. I feel like that's a lot of cheese though, so I'm gonna hold off.
Dad, we need you for this. Yes.
It's definitely thickening up. I also have some random feta cheese in my fridge, so I'm wondering if I should throw that in too. I just realized I also have some shredded mozzarella, so I could put that in if I need more cheese. Okay, this feta cheese, just making sure it's still good. It's hard to tell if cheese is going bad. There's no mold. That looks good to me. I'm probably gonna throw some feta cheese in there. I might pull out some of the mozzarella that's in there as well. And this is almost ready to go. I'm gonna taste another little thing of pasta. See how close we are. It's so good. And we're really close. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat off and get it to I'm gonna take it off the heat actually. You know what? I'll go ahead and bring it right here so that it's easier for you guys to watch me stir in the rest of the things. I'll put a nice, it's kind of slippery. All right, you get a much better view when I do that. Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna let this cool slightly before I put the cheese in and say a little prayer that it doesn't break as it hits the heat. Oh, you know, I'm gonna throw in my peas first. That will cool it down. And the peas take like 2 seconds to cook. That will cool things down slightly, just enough to protect the cheese from just seizing up. That looks really pretty. It definitely looks, what's the word? Like nostalgic, like mama just making a big pot of whatever on a school night. So that looks really pretty. I think because the peas probably helped reduce the temperature a little bit, I bet it's safe to throw in the cheese now. Maybe I'll start with maybe I'll start with the feta. Let's do that. Throw in some feta. Get that in there. I feel like feta doesn't really risk breaking, but we'll see. Oh, that looks so good. It's like kind of melty. You know how feta doesn't really like melt that well? Okay, now do a little bit of the cheddar. I know I have the smoked cheddar on the top. Oh, it smells good. It smells good. Hey, babe.
Yeah.
Can you do milks and stuff?
Not yet.
Okay. So the question is, what is your favorite winter Olympic sport? My husband, we were talking about this as a family last night, and I think that most of us said like figure skating, ice skating, like that kind of thing. My husband's hey babe, what's that thing called where they wipe the ice as it's moving?
What?
That sport that you really like where they wipe the ice as it's moving? Curling. I don't know how that's a sport. No offense to anybody who plays it or likes it, but I've never seen anybody curl other than the Olympics, and I just don't totally get it, but my husband thinks it's so cool. To each their own. This looks good. I'm just mixing in all this cheese. It's definitely not a soup, but it is a little bit soupier than I like it to be, and I think that might be because I probably had a little less pasta than the ratio called for, because my pasta was 14 ounces instead of my little boxes or bags of pasta. They were each 14 ounces instead of 16 ounces. So that probably is why, but it's still really thick and delicious. And it's definitely that kind of comforty big bowl of, it's almost like the consistency of a stew, but not a soup. Okay, this looks really good. I'm gonna taste it again, and then I'm gonna throw in the Greek yogurt and see how that fares. I'm also hoping that I don't detect any cheese breaking. I'll tell you, I'll be honest if it does. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Oh my gosh, that is so good. But I do feel like it needs more cheese. I feel like I want it to be even cheesier. Mmm. Oh my gosh. Mmm. Holy mackerel. Should I put some mozzarella in there? It tastes so good. It has a tang. I think I might have put too much apple cider vinegar in it. Not in a bad way, in an absolutely delicious way. I'm a little afraid that this is going to give it too much of a tang, but I'll stir a little bit of this Greek yogurt in and see what that does. I can smell and taste that smoked cheddar in there. Like I said, it's a really strong smoke flavor, so usually when I use it, I'm mixing it with non-smoked cheeses as well. Even when I make grilled cheese, I'll do like smoked cheese on the bottom, put a little turkey or something on it, and then put some regular cheese on top. So it's like half smoked, half not. This fork isn't doing a very good job of getting the food into my mouth. Probably should get a spoon. It is so good. This is gonna sound crazy. I want to add a little honey. I want to add just the tiniest drizzle to give it a tiny bit of sweetness. I know I said the tiniest drizzle, and that didn't look like a tiny drizzle, but remember, this is an enormous pot that I'm working with. And I feel like I want to put a little more cheese in it to give it more mac and cheese vibes. I used this I think last week to make chicken parmesan. So this is some mozzarella. Let's put a little of that in there. That's the best thing about cooking this kind of meal is like you just put in it whatever you want. Just like look in your fridge, grab that feta cheese, grab a little extra mozz, little Greek yogurt, or if you have sour cream, whatever veggies you have in there. I was keeping a lot of carrots on hand because my kids were making a lot of snowmen, and you always have to make sure you have carrots ready for the snowmen. Let's see. By the time I taste this, like by the time I'm done tasting this, it'll be like a full dinner for me. Oh yeah. That's really good. I love the addition of the honey. It does not taste sweet at all. It just balances out and just adds a little more depth of flavor. So a little more of this mozz, and then that's it. That is it. I'm going to scoop it into some bowls and we're going to enjoy this. So thank you so much for watching, and go ahead and try this. I will go ahead and put the link to Christine's notebook recipe, and then if you want to do the add-ins that I added, just kind of follow along with the video and do your thing. I might toast up some sourdough with this, and ooh, butter, and just dip and just feast on this. So thank you for watching. Happy eating. Bye-bye. How do I end this thing? Like this?